Hi, it's me again, just me, I'm afraid today. Jen is at work, she's a GP, and so she is working ridiculously hard at the moment. And so, if you're part of medical services right now, our prayers are absolutely with you, because we know that it's a really, really challenging time. But just wanted to update you on where we've got to as a church. Things are moving incredibly fast. I was just thinking this morning, I woke up thinking about going back to the beginning of the year in 2020, and some of the dreams and the plans that probably all of us had for this year, dreams around our family and our holidays and the church and things that we wanted to see. And to be honest, all of those things have kind of been slightly swept aside in the last, I don't know, couple of weeks particularly. And when we're getting used to a new normal. And so I just wanted to talk about, okay, well, what's our church community going to look like in the next season? What are we going to press into? How are we going to do things? And so just wanted to speak about that for a moment. Three main things that we want to press into. And the first is that it's really around fixing our eyes on Jesus. In the midst of all of this chaos and change, Jesus is our constant. I was sent a word by somebody in our church this morning, just reminded me of the Joshua series that we did, Courage from Heaven. And the words to Joshua, be strong and courageous, be strong and very courageous, for the Lord your God is with you. And it's at moments like this that we actually have to stand in the Lord. And we also have to come before him and be like, and start praying. And so I'm calling the church to a day of prayer this Sunday. We're going to join with the Evangelical Alliance who are doing that. And we're going to pray for our communities. We're going to pray for our families and loved ones, our city, our nation, our world. This is a moment where we're like, Lord, would you move? And so we'd love to be able to do that. A number of people have been asking, well, what are Sundays going to look like? How are we going to do that? Well, I'm going to be, not necessarily me preaching, but we're going to be releasing a talk each Sunday at 10:30 that a preach that you can listen to. In terms of worship, we are also going to be pre-recording some worship this week that will be going out at various points, so that it's really lovely being able to hear people in your own community worship. And so we're going to be doing that. In terms of the kids, we're going to be creating resource packs to go out every week for families to get together and to be able to do things together. We just think that is so important. For our youth, we're looking at how they can still continue to meet together. And so they're going to be doing some stuff on Tuesday nights and working out how they can meet virtually. So as you can see, every single area of our church is changing and moving. But we also just see some amazing opportunities. If you just think about this, fixing our eyes on Jesus, do you know what? We're being forced to slow down. We're being forced to slow down as a nation, as a society. And, we can distract ourselves and get into the next thing, or we can sit there and be like, do you know what would it be to create some new rhythms in our life? What would it be to create some new rhythms in our family and to say, actually, this is a moment to fix our eyes on Jesus? And so that's one of the things that we're going to be doing. The second thing is really about how we love one another. And I guess that's talking about our church community particularly. At a time like this, small groups are more important than ever. And, obviously there's challenges. We can't meet together physically, but there's this digital age is just amazing, isn't it? That we can actually have small groups that meet online. And so we've been preparing resources to say, how do you do online communities, WhatsApp groups, all of these things to say, actually, the heartbeat of our church are our small communities. And so we would love you to absolutely prioritize being in a community. Some of you aren't currently in a small group. We're going to be launching new small groups over this coming week as well to say, actually, that is such an important place. So please get yourself into a small group as they begin to meet together more digitally. And also, we're just aware pastorally that there are a number of people struggling. This is a time where mental health issues can be really, really challenging. And so we're setting up, there's an email address, which is pastoralcare@cardiffvineyard.org. If you are just going through a tough time and you just need some support, then please email or get in touch in whatever way that is. We absolutely want to support you as this community. So fix our eyes on Jesus, love one another. And then the third thing is really how we serve our city as well. So a lot of the things and a lot of the ways that we would have served our city are changing. But we think particularly during this week, it's about loving our neighbours. And so we have printed a whole load of cards to give to people in order to hand out to their streets. We might not be able to get them to everybody physically, but there's also a PDF version as well. And so what we're saying is, in this next, few days, would you really see whether you can connect with your streets? Maybe get some mobile numbers, maybe find out who the elderly are on your street. And I talked the other day about being street pastors. Would you pastor your streets? We think it's so important that you maybe get the connection now, because actually as time goes on and we are forced to lock down more, we might not be able to do that in the same way. So what is it for us to create community all around us in our local thing? So there's that. And then just a real priority in serving our city is how we look after the vulnerable and how we look after the elderly. Those two different things. And so we're particularly looking at those things to how we can continue some of those things. Food's obviously going to be a really important thing, getting food to people and supporting people. So we've got a team working together on that. And as we've got more detail about that, we will let you know and say, this is how we believe we can serve our city in this next season. So in finishing, let's be filled with courage. Yes, there's a lot going on right now. Let's be filled with courage from heaven as we step forth into this next season. And yes, we don't know everything that's going to happen, but we do know that the Lord is absolutely with us and he's in the midst of us. And so we trust in him.